Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So you guys already know by the title that today's video is going to be my labor and delivery story, and this video might be long because it was a very long process, but let's just get started. So as you guys know, I was due on the 27th of March. That was my due date. You get two due dates because your baby is expected to come either on the due date or 2 weeks after. So 2 weeks after would have been the 9th of April. So anyways, fast forward to my due date, which was March 27th. I didn't have any contractions, nothing, so I was kind of disappointed when she never come. But the 27th passed, the 28th passed, the 29th passed, the 30 passed, the 31st, and then at this point I was just like over it. I was over being pregnant. So anyways, I started reaching out to my Instagram followers. I'm like, guys, how can I self-induce? So I got so many recommendations. Somebody said drink castor oil. I didn't do that. They told me to drink thyme tea. Somebody told me to eat pineapples. I bought a whole, remember one big old pineapple, eat it off within like 2 hours and nothing. Somebody said do squats. I did squats. Somebody said walk. I walked. I cleaned. What happened is, one of my friends on Instagram who had a baby before me, she was like, listen girl, I see where you're 7 days past your due date. I would recommend going to the hospital and getting induced, because with my son, he basically passed feces and he was digesting it, and both of us were dying, and I never feel nothing, like she never feel different. So when me hear that, knowing that I still feel the same, you know, there's no difference, and she almost died, me start fret. So I texted my boyfriend. I'm like, listen, I need to go to the hospital. No, I need to get induced because my friend told me this. And like I was just so scared because what's happening, it's been a week. So he was like, you need to chill, you know, the baby can come 2 weeks after. I'm like, 2 weeks after what? And I just went off on him because I just went off. He was like, all right. So we get dressed and we go to the hospital. I told them what was happening. I was having spotting and I was having cramps. So I told them that I was having the spotting and the cramps, but I'm not seeing any signs of labor. So they did a vaginal examination and basically strapped me up to some machine to see if I have contractions. I wasn't having any contractions, and from the vaginal examination, which is them inserting 2 fingers in the vagina, turns out that I had cervicitis, and it's kind of like an infection, and it can kind of damage your womb if it's not treated. So it's a good thing that I went anyways. That was the Tuesday, I think that was April 1st. And I was kind of scared going April 1st because I didn't want my baby to be born on April 1st. Cliche, I know. But they didn't. They prescribed me some meds, sent me home and said, alright, if your baby don't come by Friday, if you don't feel any contractions or anything, you need to come back to us. We're going to induce you and also do an ultrasound so we can know the size of the baby. Did the ultrasound the same day. Turns out the ultrasound said the baby was 7 pounds. They were not sure that, because my womb was small and I'm small, they weren't sure that they were going to allow me to push a 7-pound baby. So C-section came in the mix. They were discussing C-section and saying, you know, they might make me do C-section and I should just come back on Friday. Alright, go back home, everything good, sit down in my yard, nothing, no contraction, no nothing. So Friday I packed my bag again. To the hospital we went, and they were just like quick and fast. I was taken to the room to do the vaginal examination, because they do that every time. 2 doctors were in there. They did the vaginal examination. There were still no contractions. You could still see signs of the cervicitis because I was only on the meds for a couple of days. I think the cervicitis and the spotting and the cramps is basically what made them like hurry up and, you know, treat my case with urgency. But anyways, they did a vaginal examination and they did a sweep. So because they didn't want to induce me, they wanted to try everything before inducing, because they just wanted to try everything for it to be natural. So what they did was a vaginal sweep. So with the vaginal examination, as I explained, they insert 2 fingers. With the sweep, they go around the cervix in a circular motion, and that's my friend, is very painful. So both doctors did it. So I was swept twice. And normally, if you're gonna be swept twice, it's like within a couple hours. But I was swept twice within a couple minutes. And then she told me that I was gonna be admitted. I'm like, so you guys are gonna allow me to push a 7 pound baby? She's like, yes, we're gonna allow you to push a 7 pound baby, but don't worry, we're here to help. If anything happens and we need to schedule an emergency C-section, we will. We're here to take care of you. I'm like, okay, I know, because I wasn't scared at this point. I just want to get the baby out of my body. So them admit me. I called my boyfriend. He brought my stuff up because they were downstairs in the parking lot. Cause we don't want to bring the stuff up and then have to, bring them back down. As soon as I put my stuff down, they called me and they gave me the armband with my name and my date of admission and whatever. So like everything was just moving fast. And as I said, compared to the first day that I went there and I sat there for 2 hours before somebody even looked at me, and I had to get up so many times to say, hey, are you guys going to look at me? Anyways, so they admit me, and in the night I was feeling cramps, but it was just like the same cramps that I was feeling from the cervicitis. So I was just like, nobody not even do another vaginal examination. A nurse came and said she was gonna do it, and she didn't. And she was like, okay, if you feel any different, you can just go to the nurse's station and tell them. I was upset. I woke up in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. Babies were crying, and I was just like upset. I was like, oh my gosh, I am a week past my due date, a week and 1 day, and you guys are not even inducing me. You guys aren't doing the C-section. Why? I mean, this was just a couple hours after being admitted, by the way, but I was just so frustrated. I fell back asleep. In the morning I woke up, I was texting my high school best friend. I was like, girl, imagine say me have cervicitis. Imagine say, so many things are going on and them now look for me with urgency. And before she could have even, well, we were speaking about it for a while, but not for long. Before long, them call me and they're like, IshaMoy, bring your stuff to the delivery room, your bath. I have a video of what I packed in the bath, like, stuff for the delivery room. I'm gonna link that video down below in case you guys want to see, if you're pregnant and you don't know what to take to the hospital. I'm going to link the video down below. But anyways, they came and they said, all right, bring your stuff. And this was just like right after breakfast. I had cornmeal porridge, an orange, and a little bit of tea, and bread and butter. But I don't really like bread, so I never eat half that. I only ate half the porridge, drink half the tea, and I ate half the orange. So I was kind of hungry same way. And when I'm bringing stuff to the delivery room, one of my friends that I found in the hospital, she was like, girl, bring your water bottle with you, because it's not like you're going to come out anytime soon. I'm like, whatever. Didn't bring the water bottle. So we went in the delivery room. They were getting me on bed number 8, and basically them prep me, and this is where stuff like started getting real. She said, all right, put down your basin and the ink pads. She was like, how many of those do you have? I'm like, 3. She said, all right, get on the bed. I got on the bed. She told me to remove my underwear and bring my nightgown up. So I did that. With this, you really pride, you have to throw that out the window. You have to just think that, all right, these people are going to be looking in my business and touching my business and just doing whatever they want, and you just have to like accept that. But anyways, got on the bed, and then my water didn't break, so she broke my water, and then she was like, oh, you didn't put the ink pad on the bed? I'm like, I didn't know. She make it sound like, so like me have 200 picnic already, I'm supposed to know, say, alright, ink pad supposed to go on the bed, because like I think that's her job to put the ink pad on the bed. But anyways, she's like, I thought you put the ink pad on the bed, yada yada yada, and she broke my water. That wasn't painful. Then they basically, I had the IV access in my hand already, so they connect me to a drip, which was like saline. Saline's like salt and water. So I was asking her, so are you guys prepping me for C-section now, or am I about to be induced? She said, we're gonna induce you. They did another vaginal examination. I was like 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. So what had happened with the sweep and the contraction, the cramps that I was feeling, I was actually feeling contractions. So at that point, I was already in labor for 24 hours, because I was admitted around 11, and this was 11 o'clock that they were inducing me. So I was already in labor for 24 hours. Zine, But it wasn't horrible because, as I said, I slept through most of it. I not even did know I was in a labor, so it wasn't horrible. When I first heard my friends talk about I've been in labor for 24 hours, I thought, bro, how, why would you sit there in labor for 24 hours? But me do it, I mean, even go more. So she said, all right, we're inducing you. We're gonna give you 2 bags of saline. And then another nurse come. Well, she was the midwife. She's who took me from the bag of saline, them 2 bag of saline, straight to the point where I'm going back to my bed with my baby. So them give me the 2 bag of saline. Me not feel nothing. I thought I was supposed to feel pain, but I feel no pain. So girl, feel nice. All right. Make her have baby. I not feel no pain. I felt like, okay, girl, I'm strong. Pity me, never know. So the midwife explained that, all right. So we give you the 2 bags of saline, and then we're gonna start you on the liquid that actually induces you. Now we're gonna start you at 10 drops per minute, and then we're gonna increase it gradually, so the pain will get more and more and more. When she started, the cramps just feel normal. Me feel like okay, easy breezy, nothing nah keep. As she start increase the dosage, and like as it go along, I could feel the contractions getting more intense. Like they were still spaced out, but they were getting more intense. And how it feels is, it feels like there's a wave over your tummy. Like this is your tummy and there's a wave coming over your tummy, and you have to ride out each wave. So what I did is I was focusing on my breathing, and that really helped. So I was focusing on breathing in and breathing out, and that helped through the first bit of contractions until them start get worse. Because when we just start feel contractions, the radio was playing. I was singing because they were playing gospel. I was singing because this was a Saturday. I was singing. I was okay. When the contractions really start hit me, singing stop, and me a ball for my mother, me a ball for Jesus, me a ball for everybody. Me I say, Lord, girl, at one point I was like, Lord have mercy. She's like, yes girl, call out for your faith. I knew she wanted to laugh at some point, but at one point, because remember I told you guys I didn't really get to eat. At one point I was just thinking about the food in my fridge. I was like, okay, so me leave 2 bun and me leave 1 slice of cheese in my fridge, and me there hungry, and the labor room is very cold, so my lip them dry, desert dry, and me hungry and contraction a lick me, gospel a play, me hot. Them never have proper sheet on the bed. There was only half a sheet because apparently them never get the right sheets, and the lady never put the ink pad, so I was just sitting in a the sheet was wet basically. She put the ink pad after, you know, but it was already soaked to a point where I could still feel it. And bro, I was just in the worst pain. And then she started increase the dosage after me thinks that alright, we reach. She started increase the dosage, and then they had to come and keep doing vaginal checks. So just imagine you feel contraction and them a insert finger, never nice. So they measured, and at one point I asked her, how much am I? She said, you're 6 centimeters dilated. You can't push until you're 10 centimeters dilated. So me did there how long? This is probably like 1 o'clock, 1:30, and me just the 6 centimeters, and I've been feeling the worst pain. I'm like, how bro, how? Anyways, I got to 10 centimeters, and she said, all right, it's time to start pushing, you know. She said, it's your time to shine. And when I was supposed to start pushing, she said, all right, push down in your bottom, don't push in your vagina. And I was like, what? Aren't you having the baby through your vagina? Why should I push through my bottom? But anyways, she's the one that's helping me, so I have to focus. She said, just get the head out, and I will get the rest. The head is the hardest part. I'm like, okay, because I told her at one point, because you know they were checking me to see if I really could do the natural birth. One of the doctor came in and she's like, you know, it look like she can cross it. And when me hear that, I say, all right, so if Mr. Me can't cross it, that means say then I go do the C-section, because I wanted a C-section at that point because pain kill me. But I just want to put me asleep and I wake up and I have my pitney. That's the worst thing to think, by the way. C-section is not better. Anyways, so time to push now, and she's like, okay, push down in your bottom. So I'm like, okay. She said, every time you feel a contraction, you're gonna hold the back of your legs. So basically, like under here, you're gonna hold the back of your legs, and you're gonna push as hard as you can. You're gonna push down in your bottom. You're gonna count to 10, and you're going to stop pushing when the contractions stop. So you're not gonna waste any of the contractions. I'm like, okay. So me there and me wait for the contraction and the contraction come and I'm like, alright, push. Girl, but push for about 3 seconds and stop. Because me I said, no, what is, because I just couldn't get the hang of pushing. I'm like, what is this? This was around, but what time this now? But after 2? Probably after 2 when we start push. Yeah, probably after 2 when we start push. So I'm like, okay. She said, you can't stop it, you can't stop it, you can't waste the contraction. So I started lying to her. So each time I push and I couldn't push no more, I told her the contraction stop or the contraction finish. So you know what she did to me? She increased the dosage, because she's like, okay, if it's a case of the contraction I stop. But if you increase the dosage, she increased the dosage for me. When she did that, I was like, okay, you know what? I just need to make up my mind and push. And even though I didn't feel like I was pushing properly, she was still saying, you know what, good girl, you have this and you're doing well. And the reason she actually increased the doses is because I was pushing, she was seeing the head, because I was asking questions like hell. I'm like, are you seeing the head? Can you see the head? She said, yes, I see the head, it's right here, keep pushing. And I was, you know, people in movies push and make noise. She said, listen, no noise. And I had to be obedient. So imagine me want to scream out my lungs and me just did her pushing silence. So pushed and I got the baby to a point and she was like, you need to push, you need to push, you can't stop, you can't stop. And I'm like, the contraction finish. That time I lie, because me have to do there bear the contraction and don't make no noise, because me just lazy and me can't push. Me just feel like me can't do it. And she's like, okay, increase the dosage because the baby can't survive that long down here. So at this point I'm like, oh shit, so something might happen to my baby. So maybe just make up my mind and I'm like, alright, she increased the dosage, I'm want this to stop, so me just push. And brother, when I tell you say me push, at one point, because I'm pushing, you're supposed to be flat on your back, me dey flat on my back. At one point when I decided to make a push, me lean up, and how I leaned up, I could literally see Amari's head through my vagina. Like, I think they call that crowning, when you can see the baby's head and you can see it looked just like how it looked in the documentaries, basically. I could see it. She's like, no, you have to lay down. So when me see that, it's like, oh my gosh, oh my freaking gosh, I'm literally giving birth. Oh my gosh, that's my child. Oh my gosh, I need to push because she might die. So I pushed and she said, okay, great, the head is out. Then she said, the umbilical cord is around the neck. I'm like, shit. One next movie scenario, I tell me, said the umbilical cord around the neck. She said, stop, push. So I stopped because the contraction did finish anyways. So I stopped pushing. You would have think, say, because me did hate push so much, would have glad. But my body got in the hang of pushing, so there was another contraction coming, and I was telling her, nurse, I can't hold it. My body was, at this point, my body was in a pushing mode, so my body naturally is pushing. I'm like, nurse, I can't hold it. She said, you need to hold it because the cord is around the neck. I couldn't hold it, so I pushed, and it just, everything come out, the baby just fly out. So that was, call it 5 pushes. So I'm in labor from 1:30. She was born at 4:05. I mean, I was induced at 1:30. She was born at 4:05 p.m. So just to tell you how long I was contracting and like the short amount of pushes, you are in labor far longer than how long you push. I only pushed like 5 times, and that was 3 lazy pushes. At the last 2 really good hard push, when I make up my mind, so me now make my baby dead. And when I pushed out the baby, she's like, you push out the baby, and me tell her, like, she was kind of upset because the cord was still around the neck. Mind you, she was taking it off, but she never get to finish because me just push out the baby because I couldn't hold it. So she took off the cord off the neck. I was worried because I was like, shit, you mean so me could have, after all of that, me could have go home without a baby because me couldn't really hold it. I was feeling so guilty. And she got the cord from around the neck and she held up the baby. She said, what kind of baby do you have? Did you have? I didn't see shit, but I said a girl. And that's because I was expecting a girl. I never see nothing a hang down and long down and a swing. So I just say, alright, it's a girl. She said, yes. And then she brought the baby to me. She cleaned up the baby with olive oil and a receiver, and she brought the baby to me. And we were allowed to do skin to skin, and she said, look there, you tear yourself. And even when the baby just slipped out, she said, well, the baby just slipped out and the baby cried immediately. She's like, look, your mother nearly strangled you. And apart from me feeling guilty, say, hey, I might go home without a child, that did just make me feel worse. So thankfully she got the card from around the neck, and she cleaned her up, she gave her to me. And one of my biggest fears, apart from birth itself, one of my biggest fears was that they would switch my baby at birth. So at this point, me have the baby, nurse give me the baby like this, and me I try to look on baby face, but me nervous. And at this point she said I tore myself, because what happened is that when the baby was coming out, because the nurse was focusing on getting the cord from around the neck, the baby's hands were by her side. So when she just slipped out now, it just tear me. So she was saying, alright, I need to get stitches. So she get her needle and thread and whatever. And me have the baby like this, and me I try turn the baby to see the baby face, because me don't want them switch my child. And it's my first time having a baby, and it's a fresh newborn just drop out of the pum pum. So I'm like, I'm kind of scared for turn her, but at the same time we really want to see her. And eventually I turned her face, and I was like examining, because I tell you, she was born with 3 bumps. She was born looking like a Chinese. She was born with curly black hair. What else? She had stretch marks on her booty. Like, if they could not switch my child, and because she was stitching me up, I got more skin to skin time than regular. So I got probably 5 stitches, and when I tell you that I didn't feel a single one, like I didn't feel it, because I was so in love, and I was so caught up in just looking at the child and make sure, say, if them try to switch the child, I would be able to say no, that's not my kid. Because I was so caught up in that, I didn't feel it. So I think I got 5 stitches, because I counted it after. I think I got 5 stitches, and the only thing I felt is the last part when she was knotting it. She was like, listen, I have to pull it tight, because now you come back and say the man said there's something not tight again. And you blame me. I'm like, girl, no, because I'm thinking I just had a guy's child. If him wants to say something like that in the future, girl, bye. Boy, bye. Who cares, But anyways, she then took the child, and she's like, okay, I'm going to dress and weigh the baby in this, and then I'm going to bring the baby back. You can come off the bed. She cleaned me up, and she put on my underwear. She put my maternity pads in my underwear, and she put them on. She put it on me, basically. And she doubled the maternity pad. So maternity pad already big and just humongous and disgusting, but because you just gave birth, you have to wear 2. So they basically put the pads like this in the underwear, and then she put it on my body. Then she told me I can sit up, and basically I gave birth. That was it. I was just waiting on the child now. So I just sat on the bed, and she cleaned off the baby, she cared about the baby, and I was like, I'm the only person in here. She said yes. So even if they had planned to switch the baby, there was no other child in there to switch the baby with. And when we get back my baby, we count the 3 bump them, we check for the stretch mark on the ass, we check everything. And it was my child. As I said, there is no way they could have switched that child. I looked at every single detail. I looked on everything. Anyways, they brought me back into the room. She put me in a wheelchair. She wheeled me out with my child in my arms. I thought that after birth them would have keep the baby for a while or do something, so you as the mother could like get a breather. No, baby, when you have the baby, when the baby pop out, that's it, motherhood starts. You have no break. So they brought me out, and she's like, all right, because she cleaned me up with salve, like clean up between my legs and everything. She said later you can have your shower. For that evening, because that was Saturday, April 4th, for that evening, the only time she cried was when I said that she slipped out when we couldn't really hold it, and the baby come out and cried. That's the only time she cried. And when we came back to the room now, remember, this was after 5, because by the time we get the baby passport and clean up the baby, and I had to do a change of pads, because by the time I was actually to sit in the wheelchair, I felt a rush, and I just stopped. And she was like, what, you feel something running down? I said, yeah. She said, you need to change. I said, yes. So She allowed me to change, and even though I knew the child was mine, there's the room that they clean them in. I kind of prips in the room to see if no other baby in there. There was no other baby in there, so I was the only person that gave birth at that time. So when they brought me back to the room, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, that was quick! You give birth already? Yada yada yada." And I kind of hid my baby. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hid my baby when she put me on the bed and she left. Everybody was kind of trying to see my child. You know, the other moms in the room, they were trying to see my child, and I didn't want them to see her because I was insecure. Baby just born, newborns. A lot of persons talk bad about newborns, and they change a lot. So I was kind of scared somebody was going to say something about my child, and my feelings would be hurt. But when they saw her, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so adorable. She looked like a Chinese, yada yada yada." And as I said, I didn't get to have a shower because she was just feeding, feeding, feeding. Even now, she's a titty monster. She's just feeding, 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 feeding. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna go home tomorrow because the way she's feeding, she's gonna pass feces and she's gonna urinate by the morning." And she did. And that, as I said, I was admitted Friday, had baby Saturday 4:05. By Sunday evening, I was given the go ahead to go home because, as I said, she did poop in the morning. Normally, when they discharge a new mom, they bring you downstairs in the wheelchair because the maternity ward is on top floor. Yeah, and I came home. I wasn't in a lot of pain, but I was in pain. And even after having the baby, my biggest fear in the hospital was crushing the child because, all right, this is my bed. Half of this bed is what the hospital bed is. So I was kind of like, I didn't want to crush my baby, and I was kind of scared to sleep with her on that really small bed. But we slept through the night and everything was fine. And yeah, I came home and I've been home and just trying to recover. In that moment when I was in labor, I told myself that, hey, God, if you get me through this, I will never have another child. And even her name, her first name is Amari. Her father chose her name. Her second name, or her middle name, is Renicia. My little sister, chose that name. So I was like, listen, me can't sit down here in pain and me not name my child. Me I changed the name completely. But I didn't. That was just stuff that I said while I was in labor, and I was saying it to myself. But I really want to give the midwife, I want to give her a card or something, because from the moment that I was put on the liquid that induced me, straight to the point where even the next morning when they're doing their checks, she did check on me and everything. And she just made sure that my delivery was really smooth. So yeah, that is my delivery story, guys. It was long. I was in labor for 27 hours, because if you count the 24 hours plus the time that I was in labor in the delivery room, it's 27 hours in total. It wasn't completely horrible because, as I said, I slept through most of it. And would I do it again? No. Looking at her and like just bonding with her, probably, maybe, but that is not something that is gonna happen anytime soon, and not until I'm married. No way I am going back through that until I'm married. And the only reason why them released me so early was because I did natural birth. I was at one point wanting to do C-section, but if I had done the C-section, then I would have to stay an additional 3 days in the hospital, which I didn't want to do because of the coronavirus. So I'm happy that I did the natural birth, and I'm happy that everything was smooth and safe, and my baby is healthy. And eating the dirt and the baby powder during my pregnancy didn't do anything. My child is 100% okay, and she doesn't have any birthmarks or anything like that. I can't wait until you guys actually see her, probably in the next video. I'm kidding, no, not until she's christened, but I hope that is soon, as long as we get this coronavirus thing out the way. But enough of me blabbering. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you've made it this far, you are a real MVP. Thank you so much for supporting me, and follow my baby on Instagram. This is her username, and follow me. because why not? And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.